Welcome to the deep dive. Today, we're diving deep into something really universal: human emotion. Our mission, especially for you, the learner, is to get past those simple words, like fine or okay. We want to give you the language to express the nuanced depth of what you're actually feeling.
Yeah, that's absolutely the key because if you just say happy or sad, it's like a placeholder, isn't it? People get something's happening, but not the full picture, not the intensity. Our sources really stress that finding the right word, those different shades and levels, that's what creates real connection. People get the whole story then.
Exactly. Because sometimes, in important situations, you need to convey exactly how serious or how joyful something is. So let's try and fill out that spectrum today. Maybe start with the high notes: happiness, moving beyond just happy. I'm noticing our sources differentiate between just general contentment and like really targeted excitement.
That's a crucial difference.
Yeah.
When you look at the alternatives, thrilled often comes up when the excitement is really specific. You're thrilled about something, a promotion maybe, or some great news. It's active excitement,
Hmm.
targeted.
Right, it's focused, which
Yeah,
is different from delighted, isn't it? The notes seem to use delighted for something warmer, more pleasant, like the example they gave: getting a thoughtful, unexpected gift that makes you feel delighted. It feels gentler than thrilled.
precisely. A sort of warm, pleasant feeling rather than, bouncing off the walls. But then the scale does go up.
Yeah.
When you get to that really ecstatic, maybe uncontrolled joy, that's when you hear "over the moon." It's such a great phrase because it immediately signals peak celebration, the getting to that dream university,
Sure.
or just incredible news.
Yeah, over the moon paints a very clear picture. And what about just general positivity, not tied to one big thing? The sources mention being in high spirits. That feels like a good one for describing, just being cheerful, full of energy, maybe after your team wins a big game or something.
Exactly. It captures that sustained positive vibe. Now let's flip it. Let's apply that same kind of specificity to sadness. And here, maybe the nuance is even more critical because the word you choose tells people how much support you might need, right? It clarifies the emotional weight.
Okay, so if it's something specific that bothered you, maybe just upset, like a temporary reaction.
Yeah, upset often implies a particular cause. It's localized.
Yeah.
Then there's that more casual, maybe lingering low mood, feeling down. That's pretty common, isn't it? Like, oh, I've just been feeling a bit down this week. Doesn't always point to one single thing.
Right, it's more general. But as it gets more intense, we need stronger words. What about miserable?
Miserable suggests real suffering, having a genuinely hard time. It's a heavier word. But the sources seem to really reserve heartbroken for that deep, significant loss, often related to relationships, but also other profound disappointments.
That word heartbroken, it really carries weight, doesn't it? Just using that word alone seems to communicate the scale of the pain instantly.
Yeah,
You almost don't need to explain why.
exactly. The word does the heavy lifting.
Mhm.
It signals profound personal cost. And that's really the core of what we're looking at today. These words aren't just labels, they're kind of shortcuts to understanding each other better.
Totally agree. Okay, moving on. Section 2: intensity. And those feelings that feel immovable. Let's talk about anger. This is a big one for learners, I think, because just saying "I'm angry" often isn't that helpful, is it? People need to know if it's mild irritation or, full-blown rage.
Right. You need the levels. So you start mild with annoyed. The examples show this is for small things like a fly buzzing around or the internet being slow again. Minor stuff, manageable.
Okay. Annoying but not world-ending, but then frustrated. That feels different. Based on the documentation, frustration seems internal, like when you feel stuck. You're trying, but you can't get past something.
That's a really good way to put it.
Yeah.
Yes. The sources point to frustration stemming from that feeling of being blocked, lack of progress, like you
Yeah,
studied really hard, but you still failed the test. The obstacle is right there, stopping you.
got it. Internal struggle. Now compare that to furious or livid. Those sound much stronger.
Oh, much stronger, yeah. Those are for the really intense anger,
Yeah.
often directed outwards. Finding out someone lied to you might make you furious.
Is there a subtle difference between furious and livid, though? I notice livid sometimes seems connected to, like, injustice or
It's a
unfairness.
sharp observation from the source
Yeah.
dialogue, yeah. Furious is strong, general anger. Livid, though, it often carries this extra layer of moral outrage. Like when something feels deeply unfair or shocking, it pushes the anger into that zone where you feel it's completely unjust and, crucially, maybe out of your control.
Ah, okay. That distinction, internal block for frustrated, external violation or injustice for livid, that's actually really useful for learners. Let's switch gears slightly. Fear. Another spectrum, right? From mild nerves to sheer terror.
Definitely. You start with nervous. That's usually mild, often linked to a specific upcoming event, like a job interview or a presentation. It's anticipatory.
Okay, and anxious. Similar, but maybe stronger.
Similar, yeah, but often feels more pervasive, maybe more sustained,
Mm-hmm.
especially when you're waiting for something important with an unknown outcome, like waiting for medical test results. It can gnaw at you a bit more than just nerves.
Right, a bit deeper. And then there's the immediate overwhelming reaction. Terrified.
Exactly. That's primal fear. If you encounter a sudden, serious threat, like the example of a big, scary dog barking aggressively right at you, you're terrified. It's instant, overwhelming.
Makes sense. And the sources highlighted a key idiom here too, right? Get cold feet.
Ah, yes. Get cold feet. That's such a useful idiom. It's very specific. It means you suddenly become too scared to do something you had planned to do.
Hmm.
Like you were all set to ask someone out or sign a big contract, and then boom, you back out last minute because fear takes over. Sudden loss of nerve.
I love idioms like that. So descriptive. Okay, let's quickly cover surprise, section 3. We often just say surprised, but there are levels to that too, aren't there? From a small jolt to complete astonishment.
Absolutely. The standard stronger synonyms are shocked, amazed, stunned. They all suggest being really taken aback by something unexpected. You might be shocked by bad news or amazed by something incredible someone does. Stunned often implies being momentarily speechless.
Right. But the sources also pointed out some more modern, informal ways to express strong, positive surprise, didn't they? Like blown away.
Yes, blown away. That's a great informal one. It means you're extremely impressed by something, like the concert was amazing, I was completely blown away. It's strong positive feedback. Exceeded expectations massively.
And the adjective form, mind blowing.
Mind-blowing, yeah. That describes something incredibly impressive or impactful, something that, well, blows your mind. The examples were things like a stunning view from a mountaintop, or maybe a really revolutionary idea, something that just leaves you in awe.
Okay, great. So we've got this richer palette of words now. But the sources rightly point out, and this is section 4, that real conversations aren't usually about just one emotion, are they? It's often a mix.
It's almost always a mix. Yeah, that's where things get interesting and, more realistic. The role play examples in the source material really show this well, people expressing conflicting feelings at the same time.
Can you give an example of that? Why mix them?
Well, because it shows the complexities of the situation. It makes the communication much richer, more human. Think about that student waiting for college news.
Mm.
The role play had them saying they were thrilled at the idea of getting in, but also anxious about affording it. See, that mix of intense hope and underlying worry, that's real life. It tells a much fuller story than just, I have mixed feelings.
That makes perfect sense. You're not just saying mixed, you're showing the exact ingredients of the mix. What about that example of the car breaking down? The source has tracked how the feeling changed over time. Can you walk us through that escalation?
Yeah, that sequence is super insightful for learners. It shows emotions aren't static. So initially, when the car first breaks down, the feeling was frustrated. Remember, that internal block. The journey is stopped. Manageable, but annoying.
Right, the plan is blocked.
But then, the external factor comes in. Waiting 2 hours for a tow truck that doesn't show up. That frustration shifted. It became livid. Now the anger is directed outwards, at the service, the broken promise. That sense of injustice starts creeping in.
Okay, so frustrated becomes livid because of the external failure and unfairness. And the final stage.
The final stage, according to the analysis, was furious. That pure, consuming rage. Why furious? Because at that point, the whole situation felt completely out of the person's control. They felt violated by the broken promise, the wasted time, helpless anger. So you see the progression. Frustrated, internal block. Then livid, external injustice. Then furious, total loss of control. Language is mapping the emotional journey.
That's a fantastic breakdown. It really shows how these words aren't just synonyms. They track different stages or aspects of an emotion. But okay, seeing this whole list, it could feel a bit much for you, the learner. We need some practical advice here. How do you actually start using these?
Absolutely. And the sources are clear. Don't try to memorize all 20 at once. That just leads to, feeling overwhelmed. The advice is much simpler. Pick just two or three new words that resonate with you that you feel you could use, and focus on those for, say, a week.
So small steps, like instead of automatically saying, I'm very happy, maybe make a conscious effort to try, I'm delighted or I'm thrilled this week.
Exactly. That small, deliberate practice builds confidence. It makes it manageable. And the other key thing is context. Keep listening. Hear how native speakers use these words naturally. Pay attention in conversations and shows, whatever. Hearing when someone uses livid versus furious helps it stick way better than just memorizing definitions.
Great advice. Okay, let's do a quick recap of this enhanced emotional toolkit we've built today.
Sure. For happiness, we went beyond happy to explore thrilled, delighted, over the moon, and being in high spirits.
For sadness, we saw the importance of differentiating between upset, feeling down, miserable, and that powerful word, heartbroken.
With anger, we mapped the intensity from annoyed and frustrated up to the much stronger, furious and livid.
And fear covered the range from nervous and anxious to terrified, plus that really useful idiom, get cold feet.
And finally, surprise, moving into real awe with shocked, stunned, amazed, and the more informal, blown away and mind-blowing.
That's a really solid set of tools. And just remember the main takeaway from this deep dive. Language is fundamentally about connection. The more precisely, the more richly you can express how you feel, the deeper and, frankly, more authentic that connection will sound to others.
Yeah, it's easy to fall back on the simple words, maybe the ones we think are expected. So here's a challenge for you. Think about the strongest emotion you felt today. Was it really just happy or sad or angry? Or if you dig a little deeper, was it maybe closer to feeling delighted or perhaps frustrated or even livid?
Choosing that precise word. It's like picking the exact right color from a huge paint box instead of just using red. It adds detail, honesty. What new details could you add to the picture of your day by using a more specific emotional word? Something to think about. Keep experimenting with that new palette. We'll see you on the next deep dive.